Let's get right into it. Number 12. Why anger makes you a superhero and a villain. You know that surge of heat when you're furious, like your blood is auditioning for a volcano roll? That's your sympathetic nervous system punching the gas pedal. Anger dumps adrenaline and cortisol into your system like it's Black Friday and everything's free. Your heart rate spikes, blood pressure rockets, and suddenly you could probably rip a car door off, or at least aggressively open a pickle jar. Here's the kicker. While this sounds like a Marvel origin story, your brain is sabotaging you in the background. Anger narrows your focus, like a horse with blinders, so instead of thinking, maybe this isn't worth a fight, you're busy mentally drafting a 5-season revenge arc. That tunnel vision can make you overestimate threats, underestimate consequences, and assume that throwing a chair will solve global peace. And it doesn't stop at your mood. Chronic anger is basically the mob boss of heart disease. Your arteries hate this emotion so much, they respond by stiffening up, and your immune system goes on a confused rampage, which can even make you sick more often. So yeah, congratulations. Anger technically gives you strength, speed, and stamina at the cost of shaving years off your life. Superpowers always come with a price, right? Number 11. Fear makes you a time traveler. Picture this. You're walking alone at night, and suddenly you hear a twig snap behind you. Your brain doesn't calmly evaluate, oh, probably a squirrel. Nope, it slams the panic button and hurls you straight into prehistoric survival mode. Heart racing, senses on high alert, you're practically starring in a horror movie trailer, except this one's produced by your amygdala. Here's the freaky part. Fear messes with your perception of time. Studies show that when you're scared, everything feels like slow motion. But your brain's threat detection system goes full paparazzi, taking way more mental snapshots than usual. Later, when you recall the event, you think, wow, that took forever, when in reality, it lasted about 3 seconds. But the time travel effect doesn't stop there. Extreme fear can actually fragment your memory, which is why people often struggle to recall details from traumatic events. Your brain is like, record everything. Wait, delete half of it. Actually, just keep the part where you screamed. And then, to make sure you never forget, fear hardwires that memory like it's engraving it in stone, so you can relive it on loop at 3 a.m. Fantastic. Number 10. Happiness can make you dumb. Yes, you read that right. Being happy is great and all, but your brain gets a little too cozy in vacation mode. When you're happy, dopamine floods your system like confetti at a parade. That feels amazing, but it also tells your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain in charge of logic and impulse control, to take a coffee break. That's why you're more likely to make risky decisions when you're in a good mood. Ever notice how salespeople try to make you laugh or give you free samples first? They know your happiness lowers your defenses. You go from, I'll stick to my budget, to, sure, let's buy this $500 blender that also emails me my horoscope. And here's another twist. Extreme happiness can mimic mania, which means you become overly optimistic and underestimate danger. Basically, happiness turns your brain into that one friend who says, what's the worst that could happen? Right before you both end up zip-lining across a canyon without helmets. So yeah, joy is cool, but maybe don't make life-altering decisions while giggling uncontrollably. Number 9. Sadness hacks your immune system. Feeling sad doesn't just make you binge-watch shows where everyone else is miserable too. It can literally mess with your body's defense squad. When you're down in the dumps, your immune system acts like that one coworker who quietly quits but still shows up for free coffee. Studies show that chronic sadness and depression weaken your immune response, making you more vulnerable to colds, infections, and pretty much anything that wants to ruin your week even more. Why does this happen? Evolution, baby. Back in the day, sadness often meant loss or failure, which meant you were better off lying low to conserve energy. Great survival hack, if you're a caveman. But now it just means your immune system decides to take a spa day while you scroll through sad playlists and cry over expired ice cream. Even worse, sadness ramps up inflammation in your body, which can lead to everything from joint pain to heart problems. So the next time someone tells you to just cheer up, technically they're not wrong, You could literally be saving your own life by watching a cat video. Number 8. Love is basically a drug deal. Everyone romanticizes love like it's this pure, magical force. But let's call it what it is. A chemical cocktail your brain cooks up to trick you into bonding. Dopamine? Through the roof. Oxytocin? Sprinkled on like powdered sugar. Your brain basically says, "Congratulations, you're high on human attachment. Good luck thinking straight." That's why people in love act, well, a little dumb. You overlook red flags, like the fact that they think pineapple belongs on every pizza or that they clap when the plane lands. Love makes your judgment fuzzy because your reward system is lit up like Vegas, and you're addicted to the feeling. Oh, and here's the sinister twist. Those chemicals wear off. The honeymoon phase isn't forever. Your brain can't keep that level of dopamine without frying your circuits. So eventually, things normalize, and you're left wondering why you spent 3 hours writing a love poem about someone who chews louder than a tractor. Love is nature's most elegant scam, and honestly, respect. Number 7. Jealousy is a bodyguard with anger issues. Jealousy? The emotion that turns you from a reasonable human into a full-time private investigator with a side hustle in overthinking. This green-eyed monster exists because your brain loves security, and nothing screams, "threat detected," like someone else getting too close to what you consider yours. When you're jealous, your brain activates the same areas linked to physical pain. Yep, your body treats emotional betrayal like an actual wound. Which explains why you feel like you've been stabbed in the soul when someone flirts with your crush. And to make things spicier, jealousy also spikes dopamine and cortisol at the same time. So you're anxious, angry, and addicted to the drama, all in one messy hormone soup. From an evolutionary standpoint, jealousy kept our ancestors from losing their mates or resources. Today, it just makes you spiral after seeing a like on Instagram. The irony? Jealousy was meant to protect relationships, but now it often destroys them faster than you can say, "Who's that in your DMs?" Number 6. Guilt is basically mental weightlifting. You know that heavy feeling in your chest when you've messed up? That's guilt turning your brain into an overworked gym rat. It's your mind doing mental deadlifts with the barbell of regret, and guess what? That workout doesn't burn calories, it just fries your serotonin levels. Here's what's happening. Guilt activates the anterior cingulate cortex and prefrontal cortex, the brain's consequence control centers. Basically, it forces you to replay your mistake on a psychological loop, hoping repetition will lead to redemption. Spoiler, it mostly just makes you miserable while you brush your teeth and think, "Why did I say that in 2014? The wild part? Guilt used to serve a purpose. It kept tribes cooperative and ensured nobody stole the communal mammoth steak. But now, you feel guilty for things like taking a nap or eating carbs. Congratulations, your brain evolved to survive saber-toothed tigers but now freaks out because you left someone on read. Guilt, nature's most exhausting home workout. Number 5. Surprise hijacks your brain like a hacker. You're walking through a quiet park when suddenly, boom, someone jumps out with a surprise. Your brain does not appreciate this little plot twist. In less than 200 milliseconds, your amygdala and hypothalamus light up like emergency sirens, flooding your body with adrenaline to help you fight or sprint. You don't even decide to react. Your brain just smashes the panic and flail button without asking permission. Surprise is such a primal reflex that it shuts down everything else temporarily. Your digestion, rational thought, even your ability to form words. That's why you just scream incoherently like a dial-up modem. Here's the sneaky part. Surprise also supercharges memory. Your hippocampus logs the event as important, which is why you vividly remember the time someone threw a cake at you in 2012 but can't recall what you had for lunch yesterday. Your brain loves drama. It's basically a gossip blogger for your life. Number 4. Disgust can save you and ruin dinner. Ever gag at the smell of spoiled milk? Thank disgust for that. This emotion evolved as your personal biohazard alarm, keeping you from eating rotten food or licking questionable surfaces, hopefully. When disgust kicks in, your insular cortex activates, and your stomach hits the brakes harder than a nervous driving student. But here's where it gets gross. Disgust doesn't just target food, it spills into morality. Your brain literally overlaps the circuits for physical disgust with the ones for social judgment. That's why hearing about shady behavior can make you say, "Ugh, that's sick," like someone just microwaved fish in the office. And fun fact, people with stronger disgust responses tend to be more rigid about social norms. So if you're a neat freak who also hates rule-breaking, congratulations, your brain is basically a hygiene dictator. Number 3. Embarrassment turns you into a human beacon. You know that lovely moment when you trip in public and suddenly your face is hotter than the surface of the sun? That's embarrassment hijacking your nervous system. The sympathetic branch cranks up blood flow to your face, and boom, instant tomato mode. Evolution thought this was genius because blushing sends a message. Hey, I messed up, but please don't kill me. Great for cavemen trying to avoid social exile, less useful for you after accidentally liking someone's 2012 selfie. Embarrassment also messes with your speech and motor control, which explains why you suddenly forget how words work and start flapping your hands like a broken wind turbine. The kicker? People often find blushing endearing because it signals honesty. So technically, embarrassment is like nature's weird PR team, ruining your confidence but saving your reputation. Ironically, the more you fight it, the worse it gets. Telling yourself, "Don't blush," is like telling your brain, "Make sure everyone notices how awkward I am." So yeah, embarrassment, the emotion that turns you into a malfunctioning traffic light in under 5 seconds. Number 2. Loneliness is basically brain malnutrition. Feeling lonely? That's not just sadness with better PR, it's a full-blown biological crisis. When you're socially isolated, your brain goes on high alert like you've been banished from the tribe. Back in caveman days, being alone meant you were dinner for a saber-toothed tiger. So your body responds with stress hormones and inflammation, which is great if you're about to fight for your life, not so great when you're just sitting in your apartment eating cereal at midnight. Chronic loneliness is linked to everything from heart disease to dementia. Your brain interprets isolation as "we're in danger," so it shifts resources toward survival mode, lowering immune defenses and wrecking sleep. It's like running a doomsday drill every day, except the only apocalypse is you watching TikTok for 4 hours straight. What's worse? Loneliness makes you hypersensitive to social threats, so you might misread neutral interactions as negative. Basically, your brain becomes that one paranoid friend whispering, "They all hate you," during a perfectly normal Zoom call. Good times. Number 1. Hope can be dangerous too. Hope gets all the good press. Movies love it, motivational speakers practically bottle it. But let's be real, hope is a double-edged sword. When you're hopeful, your brain pumps out dopamine like a broken soda machine. That gives you energy, drive, and resilience. Awesome, right? Except here's the plot twist. Too much hope can blind you to reality. Psychologists call it optimism bias, and it makes you underestimate risks and overestimate your control. That's why gamblers keep pulling the lever, startups burn through millions, and you keep texting that one person who hasn't replied in 3 days because maybe they're just busy. Hope can delay necessary action because your brain clings to the fantasy of a better outcome. It's like emotional sugar, great in small doses, toxic if you chug it by the gallon. So yeah, hope is powerful, but only if you mix it with a shot of realism. Otherwise, you're just daydreaming your way into disappointment. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.